Guys, Logan here. In this video, we're going to be talking about topical steroid withdrawal, aka TSW. Something to understand here is when you use something like clobetasol or prednisone, these are exogenous steroids. So they come in a cream, you put them on your body, and what they do is they mimic your body's adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are two glands, one on each kidney, and they release hormones in order to help with your immune system. So what ends up happening is doctors, dermatologists usually prescribe patients with skin conditions these medications in order to help the immune system by decreasing everything so that your body doesn't react as much. But over the long term, this can cause issues, and what usually happens is most patients will end up having worse symptoms from the long-term use of the steroid, and then they want to get off. And what ends up happening is, because your body no longer needs to produce the steroid on its own because it's relying on the cream, it shuts down. So the adrenals pretty much completely shut down because you're giving it that cream. And when you take away the cream, your body has a rebound effect, which can cause what we call topical steroid withdrawal. Now, a lot of doctors and dermatologists won't even really recognize this as a real thing, but if you know anyone in the skin community, as they call it, there are tons of people who have had topical steroid withdrawal, myself included. So there are really two ways to deal with this. One, you can do the cold turkey method, which I don't recommend. This is, I've been taking steroid creams for a year and I'm going to remove them completely. What's going to end up happening, your body's going to kind of go into a shock, and it's going to try and start doing things on its own, but it doesn't have the resources to do it because it's been turned off, right? Because it's relying on the cream. And then what usually happens is people get a massive reaction to where they were putting the cream, and they turn into kind of a snake. As you guys have probably seen in my previous photos, my eyes got really puffy. The reason being was because that's where I applied most of the creams. I wasn't usually rubbing it all over my face. I was putting it on my eyes. And then when I stopped using it, shortly after, it just caused an extreme inflammation. And what ends up happening is your body's trying to excrete these things, and it usually gets excreted from the area that you applied it to. So that's option one, go cold turkey, not recommended. The other option is to gradually decrease the use of the creams while you're doing the other things in this program to help you heal whatever it is that you need to heal and address the root cause. So what you can do, instead of, like right now, if you're using the cream 7 days a week, what you can do is maybe decrease the amount of days you're using it. You go down to 6 days. Or you can just use less. So if you're taking like a big handful and rubbing it all over your arm, you just do half of that and rub it on. What that's going to do, it's going to allow your body to start releasing it on its own, and you just keep decreasing it each week. It will obviously depend on the amount you're using right now, and it's going to take a lot longer because you're going to be on the creams longer, but this is going to allow you to get down to a much lower dose so that when you do remove it completely, your body's already acclimated and it's not relying on the creams completely. A couple of ways to know that it's TSW. One, obviously, is history of topical steroid use. If you've used them in the past and then you remove them and you get these weird symptoms, it's probably TSW. The next thing is the location of the symptoms. It's usually going to occur where you applied it, and it will usually be different. So for example, if you have rashes on the inside of your arms where most people have eczema, and you applied it there, and now the presentation of the rash is different after removing the steroid creams, then it's probably topical steroid withdrawal. There's also a symptom of you just kind of looking like a snake, extremely dry and flaky. That's another way that you can tell that. The other thing is the progression of the symptoms. So TSW can typically worsen over time. So if you remove it, and it presents differently, and then it starts getting worse and worse and worse, you're going to be freaking out, right? Because you're thinking you're getting worse. But what's actually happening is your body's trying to turn back on the systems that it had in place before, but it couldn't because you were blocking it by giving it the creams instead. So all of this is a process. Obviously, we don't want to go cold turkey, but each person is in a different situation, and so we want to tailor this to you. Some people can go cold turkey because they haven't been taking it as much. So it all depends on the way that you want to tackle this and how quickly you want to go through this. But going cold turkey can definitely be significantly harder, just because you have to deal with the symptoms, and the symptoms oftentimes aren't very pretty. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, fuck sugar.